Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Bracha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of 2 Timothy, the first chapter. Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, and the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also. You have heard me teach things that have been confirmed by many reliable witnesses. Now teach these truths to other trustworthy people who will be able to pass them on to others, that the correctness of the gospel continue to spread. Thou, therefore, endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. So, whatever you have to go through, endure it. Take it with good cheer, right? Consider yourself like a soldier in the army of Yahweh Shai. No man that warreth, that's a soldier, entangleth himself with the affairs of this life. So a soldier doesn't get entangled with the affairs of this life. Why? That he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. So he can't afford to get distracted. It says here, soldiers don't get tied up in the affairs of civilian life. For then they cannot please the officer who enlisted them. So if we are likened unto spiritual soldiers of Yahweh Shai, we can't be distracted and entangled. We live in this world. Yes, there are things we have to do. When you're entangled, it's like you're caught up. You're tied deeply into something, and you can't be like that with this world. You got to keep things simple. Don't entrench yourself in the things that bind you, that are of the world, because then how are you going to be able to do your job? And if a man also strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully, right? So if somebody is, they're striving, right? They're working towards something. You have to still do it by the rules. You got to play by the rules. And NKJV, it says, and if anyone competes in athletics, he is not crowned unless he competes according to the rules. The husbandman that laboreth must be first partaker of the fruits. Yeah, so just like the husbandman, the planter, is first to enjoy the harvest of his hard work. Consider what I say, and the Lord give thee understanding in all things. So keep these things in mind. Think about what I'm saying, and may the Lord open up your mind to understand all things, and basically to grow, right? To grow more and more and more in this knowledge. Remember that Yahweh Shai HaMashiach of the seed of David was raised from the dead according to my gospel, wherein I suffered trouble as an evildoer, even unto bonds. So the gospel that I have preached of Yahweh Shai being raised from the dead, for this cause, I'm suffering like I'm a criminal, even to being imprisoned. But the word of God is not bound. See, you can put me in prison, you can imprison me, but you cannot tie down or stop the spreading of the word of the Lord. Therefore, I endure all things for the elect's sake, that they may also obtain the salvation which is in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai with eternal glory. Because the things Paul endured was so he could spread the gospel, he could preach. And that was for the elect's sake, because in him preaching it, they could then hear it. And in them hearing it, they could obtain the salvation which is in Yahweh Shai. It is a faithful saying, for if we be dead with him, we shall also live with him. Right? So he's saying this is a true saying. This is true indeed, that if we die with Yahweh Shai, we shall live with him. Right? If we share in his suffering, if we put off that old man and we live in the newness of life, then when Yahweh Shai actually comes back, going into verse 12, if we suffer, we shall also reign with him. If we deny him, he also will deny us. See, that is very straightforward. Yahweh Shai died on the cross, he was raised up. The old man of our old man was died on the cross with Yahweh Shai, and the new man in us was raised up with him unto righteousness. We suffer things for Yahweh Shai, so guess what? When he reigns, we'll reign. But if you deny him, then he'll deny you. If we believe not, yet he abideth faithful, he cannot deny himself. Because if you don't believe in Yahweh Shai, or you don't believe the things about Yahweh Shai, he's still gonna what is he supposed to do? Not believe the truth about himself? If you don't believe Yahweh Shai is the Son of God, he's still gonna know and believe that, because he can't deny that he is the Son of God, because he is the Son of God. Right? If you don't believe in him and his power and the ability to deliver you, does that mean that he will not believe the same? Does that mean he automatically loses that authority and ability? No. You can deny the Lord, but he can't deny himself. Of these things, put them in remembrance. Okay, this is the believers, charging them before the Lord that they strive not about words to no profit, but to the subverting of the hearers. See, so charge them, remind them, not to get into, these back and forths and these arguments that are useless. And really, if you're not careful, you could say something that can ruin, or throw off the faith of somebody who's listening. But rather study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, right? Rightly dividing the word of truth. So study, learn, understand the scriptures, understand what you're involved in, because you're a workman, but you want to be one that's confident in teaching the truth, that you are correctly dividing the word of truth. You're not, winging it. You're not telling lies. You're not teaching false doctrines, but you are correctly and directly teaching the word of the truth. Let's go into that word dividing. Let's see what we have here. Rightly dividing. It says here, to proceed on straight paths, hold on a straight course, doing right, to make straight and smooth, to handle aright, to teach the truth directly and correctly. See? And in order to do that, you need to know what you're teaching. You need to know and understand the truth to teach it correctly. But shun profane and vain babblings. Avoid the worthless and the foolish, talk, for they will increase onto more ungodliness. See, it doesn't bring forth any edification. If anything, it might just turn into a quarrel, and it might turn into a physical altercation. Like, it's just, it doesn't profit. So shut that down. Shun it. Don't even entertain that. And their word will eat as doth a canker, of whom is Hymenaeus and Philetus. Let's read that in the NLT. It says, this kind of talk spreads like cancer, as in the case of Hymenaeus and Philetus, who concerning the truth have erred, saying that the resurrection is past already. So they bugged out. They basically deviated from the truth and started to teach some wayward doctrine. Then they were teaching there that the resurrection has passed already, and overthrow the faith of some. Right? That is the time that the believers were looking forward to, that Yahweh Shai will come back for them. These guys were teaching that, that's already passed. That's already occurred. It says here, they have left the path of truth, claiming that the resurrection of the dead has already occurred. In this way, they have turned some people away from the faith. Nevertheless, the foundation of God standeth sure, having this seal. So, yes, you're going to have cases like this, but regardless, God's truth, right? The foundation is still standing firm. And it has this seal: the Lord knoweth them that are his. See, so yeah, some are going to deviate from the faith. Some are going to teach wayward doctrines, but that won't affect the foundation of God or of his house, because they that are his will stay his. That foundation will be sure. They will not be swayed by these false teachings. Let everyone that nameth the name of Hamashiach depart from iniquity. But in a great house there are not only vessels of gold and of silver, but also of wood and of earth, and some to honor and some to dishonor. So, you know, you have a big house. It's not that everything in there is precious stones and silver. You also have wood, different quality material. You have some vessels that are honorable and some that are dishonorable. So in this truth, you're gonna have the good and the bad. If a man therefore purge himself from these, he shall be a vessel unto honor. Right. So if you keep yourself pure, you're gonna be an honorable vessel, sanctified, cleaned, and made and meet for the master's use. So the Lord is gonna use you. You're going to be a good vessel unto him because you're sanctified, you're pure, and prepared unto every good work. See, the Lord can use you for every good work he needs done. That's how you want to be, because then you're a profitable servant, an honorable vessel for the Lord. Flee also youthful lusts, but follow righteousness, faith, charity, peace. See, so discipline yourself from the desires of the flesh, but instead follow righteousness, keep the faith, continue to be charitable, maintain your peace with them that call on the Lord out of a pure heart, right? Out of sincerity. But foolish and unlearned questions avoid, knowing that they do gender strife, right? So questions that you can see they're pointless. They're gonna start fights, right? They're gonna start arguments. What comes out of it is just more division, and there's no need for that. And the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient. See, so as a servant of the Lord, you can be one with like a quarrelsome, spirit. You got to be chill, man. Be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, ready to teach, and patient. Because you're going to have people of different calibers, and in order to be all things to all men, you need a lot of patience. In meekness, instructing those that oppose themselves, if God peradventure will give them repentance to the acknowledging of the truth. See, so gently instruct them in humility, because perhaps you don't know, the Lord might be able to change their hearts for them to believe. Not everybody that disagrees is a scoffer. Okay, there may be some that disagree or they just don't understand, and you got to bear along with them. And that they may recover themselves out of the snare of the devil. See? So there's a chance that some would hear, they may not hear it or receive it at first, but the Lord might open up their minds to recover them out of the snare of the devil, who have taken them captive at his will. See, the Lord will open up their minds, and the snare is that they're trapped in the cycle of living after the flesh, the vanity of the mind. But coming under the obedience of Yahushua is being able to break free from that snare by which you've been held captive by the devil. And that brings us to the end of the book of 2 Timothy, the 2nd chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.